Achmed,
Yes,
welcome to the show.
thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Yes, very good.
Awesome.
So, this is the first show that we're recording for my podcast, No Can't Do.
Perfect.
I'm very excited to have you on.
Me too, actually. But I had a question. I'm feeling a bit unease. Why are you still using a hat?
Yes, well, as we talked about, so after I got my hair transplant with you, I, of course, have gotten myself a new life and a new
That is
hairline.
great.
And I thought it would be cool to reveal it to you now on the show.
Perfect.
So let's do that straight away. Are we ready?
Yes, go for
Okay,
it,
let's get the
please.
drum roll. Here we go. Yeah,
Oh,
so
bravo.
I've gotten used to it by now, but we haven't seen each other since the actual transplant.
Yes. Unfortunately, whenever you dropped in for your treatments, PRP treatments, I was not there.
Yeah.
Last time, I think, when you got to the clinic, I was a bit sick.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that happens, but you're not sick
yes.
today.
No, I'm not sick, I promise
Yeah.
you.
So tell me, what's going on? How is everything with the hair transplant clinic?
Oh, this is good. Everything is going fine. Hopefully, more people are being interested
Yeah.
to do the treatment. Usually, for a few years back, it was quite a taboo to do a hair transplant. Many people didn't know, and for those who did that using the very old technique called FUT, it was very painful. So they advised their friends not to do it, go bald. But in course of time, with the new technology, FU and Sapphire that we use, for example, it's being very much popular right now.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that actually, like, when I was considering the hair transplant, like, I didn't have that much hair loss. It wasn't that bad, but I had this feeling that, like, I knew I wanted to get it done. And basically, I knew that everyone, was going to Turkey. And then I found you guys and I was like, wow, okay, there's an option, like, literally from Copenhagen, half an hour on the train. And I reached out to you guys and we started talking about the options. And then I was in Thailand at this point. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Let's do it. And I think that there's not a lot of people here in Copenhagen who know that you guys exist in Sweden, just literally a 30-minute train ride away. But let's start off with talking about the actual, what do you think is the thoughts behind men and the reasoning for getting hair transplants? Like, what do you think are some of the fears? What are kind of like the main things that you hear people coming into the clinic? Like, what are the first like steps and what do they say when they come to the clinic?
First of all, let's crack down on the psychology of hair transplant, especially for men. When it comes to hair transplant or any other cosmetic surgeries, men have this idea that I look good, and if I do it, it means I was not looking good. So they would go with this narration that these kind of treatments is only for women, which recently the narrative is being changed, and more people are doing this, especially men, for the hair transplant. Regarding your question on that was how it is being done.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I think the whole topic of hair transplant has become more and more popular now. Like, it started maybe, let's just say, like 10, 15, 20 years ago. It was really like if you ask someone about hair transplant, they were like, no, I would never do that, where now it's really become super popular. And we all know about the Turkey thing, which we'll get into later on. But typically, like, what would it sound like when someone comes to the clinic and like wants to get a hair transplant? What are their main like concerns about it? What do you hear most talked about from the client side? And maybe also it could be cool for you to quickly tell us about the procedure of getting the hair transplant in regard to like what is the first step. I, of course, I know that I know a bit about it, but I would love to just kind of get your thoughts on that.
Of course, that's quite a question. Usually,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be a bit shorter.
Yeah, no.
So I can go.
Of course.
Then let's start with the history of hair transplant. Long time ago, 18 years ago, there was a new technology came. Actually, the first thing came in mind for doing a hair transplant. And the technology they started using was to remove a layer of the skin from back of the head, which is donor area. Then they would sew the rest of it, and they would extract the grafts one by one from this layer of the skin they would take out, which unfortunately they still do in some countries, like Iran, some clinics in Turkey, they still do that. And then they would implant these extracted grafts from that layer of the skin. The problem with that surgery was that there will be a visible line on the donor area, and you could never, for example, fade your hair like you do right now. It would not be possible because you would have a permanent scar on the back of your head. Later, we can say 12 or 14 years ago, a new technology came in called FUE, which is follicular unit extraction. It means the grafts will be taken one by one. There was no need to remove a layer of the skin and then kill that and remove the grafts from that layer of the skin. And this technique became more popular because it has minimal damage to the donor area. The healing process goes as fast as in 10 days. There will be no scabs also on the scalp after 10 days of your hair transplant. So it became more popular, and people say, okay, people thought that it's not going to be painful. There is not much bleeding. There is no huge damage to the donor area. So they started doing that. Later came a new technology called DHI, direct hair implantation. In this technique, they take the grafts and directly they implant it on the scalp, which is really good. It gives you a natural look, and they can fill in between the existing hair that you already have. So when it comes to hair transplants, it started 20 years ago, as you said. But the taboo is that most people think it's not good idea. The reason for that is most of the clinics, when they do hair transplant, people get a unnatural result.
Yeah.
Especially in Turkey, for example, right now.
Yeah.
When you go to a clinic, you tell them, I want to do a direct line, and they do that. They will not explain to you that this is not a good idea. And the reason to do it in close to home is also regarding the after treatment. And if you have to be in contact with the clinic like you did, there are risks for the surgery, of course, infections, necrosis. You have to think about those also.
Yeah, no. I know for me personally, it was a big one because, living as an athlete and having my mental health existing in training, it was really, really like a big topic that I wouldn't be able to train. And I remember, I was really luckily in communication with you guys, and you guys were super amazing on that side, and still are. I'm very thankful for everything, and also the relationship we've kind of developed. I see you more as a friend, I'd say, or someone I can have a chat about beauty stuff. But I was really concerned that I wouldn't be able to train. And I specifically remember you telling me, like, this is the procedure in regard to how long you won't be allowed to use the sauna, you won't be allowed to train. And that for me was definitely something that I needed to plan, and I think a lot of guys, they also, don't know about the procedure in regard to like what it requires for them and the after procedure. But I think I was actually pleasantly surprised how fastly I was back to normal. It was like after the swelling, unfortunately, but after the actual transplant, I was actually working 2 days after already. I was playing DJ gigs, and it was much better than expected. So I think the actual operation and the procedure has been pleasantly surprising, also in regard to recovery. But do you think that that's like is that like something that a lot of clients, they talk about before the procedure with you guys?
Some does, not all of them, because usually the narrative is that when you want to do a hair transplant, you go to a clinic, you do it, and then after that you go back home and then you enjoy your life.
Yeah.
But it's not always the case. We have customers who did hair transplant, for example, in Iran. They did the technology that were supposed to be for 20 years ago, FUT. and when the grafts are implanted, they are very distant from each other. And the donor area is totally damaged because they removed a big layer of the skin.
Is this something that's fixable, actually?
No.
That's the thing, right? So basically,
Yes.
if you fuck up the first transplant, like, you can't fix that, right?
In most cases, you can. If hopefully there are clinics in Turkey also.
Yeah.
They say we implant for you 6,000, 7,000 grafts. But when they come in to us to check, we will check that they actually took like maximum 1,500 or 2,000 grafts.
Yeah.
So they lie about the number of the implanted grafts. What it means is that there is still a chance for that guy to reimplant the balding area. But in some cases, we cannot help. We have customers who come in after they did one hair transplant in Turkey, or two actually. When they come in, we check the donor area, it's very damaged and it's irreparable. In that case, it's hard to tell the guy that you don't have any chance anymore.
Oh, yeah. Because I actually heard as well that you can't take any grafts from any other area of the body, not even from another person, because it won't work using someone else's hair. So you have to use your own.
True. It should be from your own body, but from your own donor area. There are clinics who actually do hair transplant from your body also. They take the hair. But we don't do that because, first of all, the type of the hair is different. The body hair does not grow long. So they're small and short. And the other problem is that we know that in most cases, and in a very high percentage, they will not give results.
Yeah.
Like they will not survive the surgery itself. That's why we will not do that. So the best donor area that you have is sides and back of your head always.
Yeah. So in regard to actually the guarantees of getting a hair transplant, how surely can you guarantee the success of the transplant and that it will actually grow out? Because when I came to you guys, I was really, really content. Like, I really felt like you guys put a lot of effort and time, of course, into consulting me about how I'm going to look and feel. And honestly, I can sit here and say, you guys lived up to the fucking expectations. Because when I was getting the hair transplant, honestly, I was thinking like, I'll just get it done. It's winter time and maybe I'll have a nice hairline. I had no clue that it was going to impact my life like this. Like, I literally feel 10 years younger. I have a completely different confidence now with this new hairline. And I remember clearly you telling me that you're going to feel so happy. And you've also told me some really, actually, like, quite emotional stories about some of the clients who have done the procedure with you guys. So let me ask you the question, like, what do you think it gives a man to get a hair transplant and like a new set of hair on the head?
Well, quite a question actually.
Yeah.
When it comes to hairline, since it's happening in course of a long period of time, you don't notice the changes overnight. You look at the mirror every day, so you don't see this one or two grafts that are falling out.
Slowly accepting it.
Yes, slowly accepting this huge change. Once you will encounter someone, like many of our customers says, we went to our barber and they told me, it was quite a funny one actually. One of them told me that the barber said, you don't have to come anymore. I cannot fix your hair at all. I mean, in which part of it should I shave so it looks nice on you? Go do a hair transplant. And then I thought, okay, now I think it's the time to do one. Most people don't notice the changes and they are in denial since this has been happening for a very long period of time. And they think, okay, now I'm 30 years old, I'm 40 years old, it should be like this, and I have to be like this. They don't do that, and they just accept the reality that they have for the moment. And when they want to go and search for the hair transplant, they get scared because, as you say, the hotspot for this hair transplant is Turkey. And when you see the results...
Yeah, you're literally getting bombed. Like, as soon as you write out just a little bit of interest, these clinics, they are just bombing you with information. I remember literally my WhatsApp, it was slammed with clinics because I was like trying to see the options. And yeah, I remember that. So yeah.
True. Now, when they see the results for the clinics in Turkey, you will see one person get amazing results, went there, and the other person is absolutely damaging. Even you look at it from far away, you will understand he did something, and his hair is empty, and the donor area is completely destroyed. The problem with this will affect on people's minds. They will think, okay, if it is good, it could be like this or like that. And they will think, okay, it's better not to take our chances anymore. But when it comes to us, when you say about the guarantees that we can give to people, first of all, it depends on the technology that we use, FUE and Sapphire. With this technology, the grafts will be taken 0.9 millimeters, which is very tiny, from donor area. It means that you will have minimal damage on back and sides of the head. And since they're very small, we can put them very close to each other on the scalp. And you will get your second guarantee also. So 2 guarantees we are talking about. The first one is the survival of the grafts. Since they're being taken very small and they're going to go deep inside the scalp, they will 100% survive, like you did, and everyone else actually.
Yeah.
So you will get the first guarantee for the survival of all of the implanted grafts by the clinic for life. It means this graft, who have always been connected to a good blood source, is going to stay on the scalp, and we are sure that it's not going to fall. The second guarantee is that since they're very small, we can put them close to each other. It should look natural. That's why, compared to other clinics, we will draw the line on the forehead based on the muscle that you have on the forehead, not a direct line. Like in most cases, people go to Turkey, they say, I want this line, and they draw the line for him, and then they go from there. But when it comes to us, we cannot do that. We draw the line based on the muscle that you have on your forehead, and we are sure that you're going to get natural results. Like nobody should know that you did anything. Your hair should go 10, 15 years younger.
Yeah. And I can literally tell you that when you say that, I've really, really noticed that a lot of people, they don't even notice that I've had a hair transplant. Like they'll literally see it and they'll be like, they didn't even notice it. Even people who saw me before, like some of them don't even perceive that I've had the hair transplant. So that natural side of it, I totally can relate to. And I think the thing that's kind of interesting about this topic is that I think when people want to get a hair transplant, they don't really care about all the like specific details of technologies. At least I didn't. And I think like it's more of the case that you just want something done, you want it fixed, you want the problem to go away, and you don't care how it goes away. But, you know, there's levels to that, you know? So if you don't do it properly, then first of all, you know, you might ruin the chance of being able to fix it, as you just said. You won't get a good result. And then you'll also be scared of like further procedures, you know, like, and I think that brings me to the point that now, since I've got the hair transplant, I'm also like considering other things, and not like that I don't think that being natural is a beautiful thing, but I do think like the hair transplant was such a huge impact for me personally, also because coming from living a life in my 20s where my lifestyle was I had a horrible lifestyle, you know, I didn't take care of my body or my health. I was drinking and, you know, out of control. And then I refound this love for my life, and giving myself the present of a hair transplant. Like, honestly, a lot of people, they thought maybe like, oh, you know, but now even my mom, she sees me, she's like, your hair's fucking, it's looking good, you know? And, but let's quickly touch upon the subject of this whole Turkey thing, because I think it is something that a lot of people, they go to straight away. And for me, as I said before, that you guys exist in Sweden is crazy. Also, at the price point you guys are offering, it's actually like very affordable for especially for Danish citizens and for people from Scandinavia. But why do you think, and what do you think is the catch for these people to go to Turkey? Like, Why would someone want to go and jeopardize this operation somewhere else where they're not at home? You know, they don't have the comfort of their home surroundings, like, and just to be able to go home after the operation. For me, I went home the same night, and I was in my own bed. Like, I didn't have to get into an airplane, be in a country where I didn't speak the language. You know, it's not the nicest couple of days afterwards. So I was super happy to be home. I could go for a walk around the lakes. You know, I could just chill in my own environment. Why do you think people they go to Turkey?
First of all, Turkey invested a lot in its medical tourism section.
Okay.
And that's why it became actually a hot spot. But they have amazing doctors. Even our teams are all from Turkey.
They were amazing.
Many people don't know this. The idea for Regenerated Line, which is Regeline, our clinic, is that we don't want people to risk going in a place that they are not quite professional. The problem with Turkey is, though as I told you, they have the best doctors, the problem is that you need to know which place you're going and which surgeon is going to do your treatment. The problem is that some clinics, since it's thousands right now in Turkey all around it, some clinics are very unprofessional.
Yeah, I heard about these farms
Yes.
over there. They talk where they're doing like 10 people a day in the same room. So you're not even in your own room, you know, you're actually just lying with 10 other people getting your hair transplant, which sounds horrible.
Yes, we had a customer who came in. As you know, before the surgery, we do a blood test. We found out he has hepatitis C, hep C, and we had to cancel his surgery. He was very angry. He said that I checked it 3 months ago in Turkey. I was there for a dental implantation, and I didn't have any problem. And then doctor noticed and told him, no, you didn't have this sickness. You got it from that clinic.
Wow.
Yes. And when it comes to
That's
hep
bad.
C, it's a very bad liver infection.
Yeah, I know of it.
So the doctors could not take the risk of doing the surgery. For that and HIV, we cannot do.
Yeah.
For hep B, we can still do the surgery. They will wear full cover. They do the vaccination and they can do the surgery.
So I also have a question, which I was thinking is interesting, is that like, how long does the actual transplant last? So if we would take my hair transplant as a good example, as I'm here, how long will this last, and what are the factors that have effect on the lasting of the hair transplant? And would I potentially need to get a top off at some point?
It's a good question. And no, you're not going to lose them at all. So, you know, yes. You see, the hair that we take from your donor area, the one that we implanted now, they have always been connected to a very good blood circulation, which is sides and back of the head. When we take these, we move them on the scalp. These grafts will stay for all of your life. The natural hair that you had on the scalp, you might lose them, but the one that we implanted, they will stay forever. You shouldn't be stressed. When it comes to results, the only mild difference is on the lifestyle that you have. If you take good care of yourself, if you eat healthy food, you sleep enough, it means that you will get better results. You're not drinking too much, you're not an excessive smoker. These will affect your hair transplant, your total health also, of course, but I mean, it will affect your hair also.
Yeah.
So that's why it depends on you afterwards. But generally, we give you guarantee for all of the implanted grafts. This means that if you lose one of them, the clinic has to put another one in instead.
Wow.
Yes.
But that's then a whole operation, right? You can't just, like, you have to go through the whole...
Oh, yes.
Getting the anesthesia and so on. Yeah.
You have to do that.
I also think that it's quite interesting that, you know, a lot of guys from maybe 10, 20 years ago, I think they just accepted that they were going bald. You know, like some people, a lot of guys out there, it's like either or. Either they just accept that they're bald and they just take it all off, or they just walk around with this slowly digressing hair. But is it true? Because I heard that basically, like, there's two factors that play into your hair, and that is your genetics and your lifestyle. So some people are prone, like they will have through their genetics just they will have receding hairlines already in their 20s. Some guys, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Could you talk on that topic a little bit? Like, do you recommend that some guys already get it done like in the early 20s if necessary?
Yes, actually, I think it's much better if they do it when they lose their hair as soon as possible.
Yeah. Because
As
then they
you-
have to get less grafts, right?
Yes, you see, there is a wrong idea among most of people. They when they see their hair is falling, they will say, "Okay, let all of them go away, and then I will think about doing a reimplantation." First of all, they will lose the best years of their life if they are young. 20 years is not a good age to be bald, I promise you.
Absolutely not.
Yes. So this is the first thing that you should fix as soon as possible. And the second thing is that if you do hair transplant, once you lose, for example, your hairline, you will use vitamins. There will be new blood channels opening under your scalp since you're doing a surgery. You will be prescribed with medicine by the clinic, which like we did for you, biotin, multivitamins, all of them. And you will also have your PRP treatments.
Yeah.
So imagine that you only needed the hairline, you already have still the rest of your head. You're thinking that, okay, let me wait to lose them. It's not a good idea. You do this part, and then you will receive treatments, PRP treatments for all of your head after your hair transplant. And you will have a huge chance to keep the hair that you have, the normal hair that you already have.
Yeah. But in regard to this whole genetic thing, because I actually was thinking of it the other day, and I was looking at my pops, who's now 78, and he still has like okay hair. So I'm thinking like I inherited his genetics in regard to like I wasn't losing that much hair, as you remember, but is it true then that it is genetically also something that you can inherit to have poor hair and lose it early?
Oh, yes, it is. In most cases, actually, genetics plays this role. If you have your uncles, any of them losing hair, there is a chance that you might inherit that genetic also.
And what was also, because I think this is quite interesting, but you also touched upon the subject that that the actual some skin colors it matters what type of hair you have as well in regard to the hair transplant, right? Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the type of the hair, we would like for them to be very strong, the grafts that we take. And the strong graft, it means it has strong follicles. Some of the grafts had between 3 or 4 follicles inside them. It means from each graft, 3 or 4 hair will come out.
Okay.
We would like that.
Yeah.
But some people have thin hair normally, so it is also
Sorry, what, tin
understandable.
hair?
Thin.
Ah, thin hair, yeah.
Yes.
I got you.
Thin. Yeah. Thin.
Thin hair, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Some people have thin hair naturally, but it's not impossible for them to do a hair transplant. And they will get results anyway, and they will get their guarantees as you did.
So now we talked upon the genetic side. Let's talk about the lifestyle. In regard to lifestyle, what is the most influential factor in regard to keeping your hair? What plays the biggest role in hair loss?
Well, when it comes to lifestyle, the first thing is that you shouldn't stress yourself too much.
Okay, so stress.
Yes, stress, lack of sleep, excessive smoking, alcohol.
Is that why we see these classic, sorry to say it, but you know, like office guys who are fucking working insane hours and then suddenly, boom, they lose all their hair?
True.
Okay.
Yes, it is actually like that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's important to stay away from stress as much as you can. So when it comes to lifestyle, it means you have to take good nutrition. You have to hit the gym, take care of your body, because this body will produce the vitamins that you need for your hair. And everything can have effects actually for the hair transplant, in total hair, we can say.
Yeah. I think it's also quite interesting because like as we talked about before, I feel like, you know, all of this like beauty stuff is all routed in also just taking good care of yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you want like those things, they're not gonna fix how you actually feel about yourself. And that's also, I think, like what is the main point for me. Like I did this when I was and I'm still building, but like in the best part of my life, you know, I'm feeling the best, and I'm very, very happy with where I am right now. And then suddenly, boom, I get this new hair, and I don't have to think about me losing hair, and it just totally enhanced the feeling of like of love, but what I'm trying to say is that like the confidence needs to be there, I think, before you actually get into these things. You know, I would ultimately maybe even recommend, like, I'm not the professional here, but like honestly, go to the gym, like fix your lifestyle, you know, get some real confidence, and then do these things, you know. But I can also imagine that there's a lot of people who just can't, they can't cope with the fact that, you know, like they're aging and they just don't want to face reality.
True, that's a huge denial most people face it. I don't know why. I mean, it is understandable because for men it's not easy. We are the breadwinners. We have to manage everything. This is the men's psychology I'm talking about.
Yeah, the alpha.
Yes. So that's why this mentality of taking good care of yourself while you have problems is eating as a life. But once you do it, or if you have friends who did it, then you will find the motivation to do. And once you get your confidence back, when you get your hair back, your confidence, of course, will be boosted. We have many patients, when they came for the surgery, they were not willing for us to even take their pictures for the database.
Mm-hmm.
They were scared that we might share their pictures. After their hair transplant, some months went by. When they come into clinic, they are asking to share their videos now.
Mm.
From being very shy, even not having eye contact with the clinic members, now they want to take videos and share it on the internet from their hair and their experience on how they did the hair transplant. So while we do not admit it, it has a huge effect on our confidence.
Yeah, and I really want to emphasize also that I really feel that you told me this when we were speaking about my hair transplant, and like I just really can sign off on that. Like I feel I was really confident before, you know, and I've never really like ultimately had like a bad confidence. It might have been the wrong confidence when I was the bad version of myself, but it really did what you said it would. You know, it made me feel more confident in the aesthetical side of my life, and it just gave me 10 years. I just feel, honestly, I literally feel like when I'm standing next to a fucking 25-year-old, I'm just like, yo, I have just as nice hair as him, you know? And even though there's a side of me that maybe thinks it's a little bit like you should own where you are in your life, I just feel like it's just such a big present to give yourself, to be able to have that glow about yourself, you know? But I also think that it's interesting that ultimately, like, you are in the business of changing people's way of walking into the world. You know what I mean? And like, you told me some beautiful stories about like men literally fucking crying because they saw themselves with hair again. And like, I also want people out there to understand that like this can have a huge fucking impact on your life. Like, not only will it maybe change like how you perceive yourself, and it might give you that extra confidence to go on that date with that girl, but like, I don't think that people are aware that like it can really affect how you feel about yourself. And I think it could be cool just to like hear your, like, do you see this for you personally as something of like a life-changing business? I know, of course, you know, it's a clinical procedure, but I mean, ultimately, that's what I feel like you're doing. You know, you're changing men's lives.
True. Though many are in denial, there are some customers actually who come in and they look at us as in between them and their dreams. We have customers who didn't do their wedding for one whole year waiting for a hair transplant results.
Their wedding.
Yes.
Yeah.
They say that we could not do it just because I look bald. I want to do a hair transplant. Am I going to get results in 1 year? We said, yes, you'll get results actually much sooner. And then they really did that. And we have their pictures. They invited us to their weddings. I also have another friend. He didn't have hair. I think I told you the story about him. I'm not going to say his name, of course. He didn't have hair for like this much of his head. He was born like that. But he was trying to cover it with the rest of the hair that he have always. And putting a lot of sprays to make it hard. And but still he was scared of wind always. Wind, rain, because he knew that if it's going to get wet or blown away by the wind, it would show that I'm bald on the front side. So he did hair transplant, and he actually cried after that. He said, I have been like this since I was born. Even in school, kids were making fun of me, calling me bald. If I knew that I could do it 10 years ago, I would do it. So it can be, honestly, life-changing for many people. Especially in the sector of confidence. Most people know that if they are bald, it means they have lesser chance of interacting with people, especially with women.
Yeah, I think so. I think ultimately, you know, like we live in a world where everyone's chasing this biohacking and longevity and like how to live the longest. And, you know, like that also is something that can be very extreme. I feel like there's like some things that are just good ideas. And like, for example, the hair transplant, honestly, like in my opinion, if you have the funds for it and you take care of yourself, I think like every man should fucking get a hair transplant. I literally think like it is such a no-brainer. For me, it's like, if anyone asks me now, should I do it? I'm like, fucking go for it, you know? I cannot see why you shouldn't do it. But I would like to quickly also talk about the actual operation. Like, what is it? I mean, I can speak from my side, but like, what's the most common like operation procedure? Can you tell us a bit about that and also the recovery time? What are we looking at here?
Yep. When it comes to the technology that we use, the EP01 Sapphire, as I told you, the good things about this one is that there will be minimal damage. It means that you will not have bandages around your head more than 24 hours. After 24 hours, you will remove and you will wash your donor area. So there is no injuries anymore. These little scabs will stay on your scalp for 10 days. If you remember that also.
Yeah. The beauty scabs.
Yes. And on the 10th day, actually, it's going to look amazing.
Yeah, I was already after 2 days. I couldn't walk past the mirror, man.
Yes.
Also, because when you see it from the side and you see the hairline, you're like, whoa. It was cool, yeah. Sorry, continue.
It's all right. So with this technology, if you use Sapphire, first we do the blood test, as I told you. We will check for the contagious diseases like HIV or Hep C or Hep B, for example. Once you're clear with that, then we will do the anesthesia using dermojet technology, which is painless anesthesia. Of course, the first 5 minutes is going to be a little bit painful. You have the experience. But we try to minimize it by 70% compared to clinics, for example, in Turkey.
Yeah.
Where they do the injections directly without using the dermojet technology. Once the anesthesia is done, the doctor will start extracting the grafts from the donor area. They will take how much you need on the front side, for example. And then they do the anesthesia on the front side and they implant it. The procedure will take between 6 to 8 hours usually for every person, but it depends on how many grafts you need.
How many grafts did I get?
Oh, in your case, I forgot actually.
It's maybe 3,000-4,000, right?
I think it was 3,000 or 4,000 grafts, yes.
And what's the maximum for a full head?
Well, we have to be honest with our customers. We think it's impossible to do more than 5,500 grafts.
Okay. And would that sometimes also be in 2 sessions?
Oh, no, that we can do. In this clinic, we can do maximum 5,500 grafts.
Okay, so you can guarantee always to finish the procedure in 1 day?
No, it depends on how big is the scalp.
Yeah, because I was there also too. And that's also one thing that I loved about you guys. Also I remember you guys were just like, we're going to take the time that it needs to get this done properly. Like, we can't tell you when you're going to be out. And that actually made me feel really comfortable, you know, instead of this feeling of like someone just rushing me through the procedure and then like giving me some kind of like time frame of it. I actually felt much more, yeah, like in good hands, so to say. And I was there till I was out. I came at 1 o'clock daytime, and I was out at 11:30. I remember.
Yes.
Back on the train with a new head of hair.
True. When it comes to hair transplant, we cannot rush this, as you said.
Yeah.
Because you are gonna do it once in your lifetime. Compared to the other clinics, we try to go a mile extra. But the beauty of it is that 80 to 90% of our customers are based on reference. For example, when you, of course, have friends, they came and they also did their hair transplant. The idea for the regenerated line was that we try to be more based on reference than reclam. And we are more confident based on this one because we would like people to have previous information before they come in. They have the confidence, they know the results, how it's going to be. And it will be easier for us to explain to them the procedure. So that's why we go a little extra mile always. We try to do the best possible for every patient. And we expect them to be happy, and later their friends come in.
That's great, man. I was just thinking, like, you know, the most successful businesses are often the ones that are based on referrals.
Yes.
And that of course makes perfect sense, because when you get the direct like proof that this is the result and someone's speaking highly of the experience, it's of course easier to sell it in. Yeah.
Yes. So compared to the other clinics, we don't push people to do the hair transplant. As you said, when you want to contact a clinic, they bomb you with messages every day. We don't do that.
No.
Yes. We like to go the approach and leave it up to the patient. We want them to do the research, because this is a very serious thing. As I told you, many people think of hair transplant like a vehicle. They say, we go, we buy it. If we don't like, we change it. They don't know that it's actually something permanent. I mean, they know, but they don't have the idea. For example, when it comes to the cost, they will think that, okay, I will do it once with cheap ones. If it didn't work, then I will change it to change the clinic. But then in those cases, when they come back to us, we check the donor area and it's damaged and it's impossible to help them, then their hearts will be broken forever. And we cannot do anything to help them anymore. That's why it's important that people know that this is not something small. This is not something that you should buy with your money. It is something that you're going to wear for the rest of your life, because you look at yourself in the mirror for the rest of your life. That's why it's important.
Yeah, no, and that's also really a great point, because now, since my life is a lot on camera, I think that for anyone who is on camera a lot and who sees themselves a lot in the mirror, like, the quality that it gives is just insane. And I said I wasn't even aware of the impact it was going to have. I also quickly wanted to ask you, is it, I mean, of course, I know it's mostly men, but you also have women coming in getting hair transplants?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So women can actually women lose hair as well? I don't even know.
Oh, yes.
I mean, of course they do when they age, like grandma style, but...
No, it's not only that. Some women has we can say a backward hairline. Some lose hair due to hormonal things. And we have some customers who had, for example, alopecia.
Sorry, what?
Alopecia. It's a problem when part of the skin, the grafts would die. Actually, it's your own immune system which attacks the grafts, thinking they're something alien, and kills them. So it happens, and they do hair transplant, but mostly women comes in for eyebrows transplant for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the same concept, like they're getting the grafts taken and implanted?
Yes.
But not as bad with the healing?
Oh, no. No, it's not like that. So actually, when it comes to eyebrows, we shave a small part of the donor area because we don't need too many grafts. Maybe 500 grafts would suffice. So we will take that much. In most cases, maybe 300, 200 grafts. So it's not a huge number.
Yeah. And with this technology you're using, because look, I think a lot of guys, they also feel that like blocking out time in their lives and, you know, not being able to function in their work and not being able to function in the gym and so on, like, what is the current recommendation on the healing side? Like, how long are you not allowed to go to the gym? How long are you not allowed to maintain lifestyle? Let's get into it, because I think a lot of guys wanna touch on this topic.
Actually, when it comes to working, first of all, you can go back to work after 3-4 days if you're having an office work. But if your work involves heavy lifting, we suggest 1 week to 10 days. This would be amazing. But you can work after your hair transplant. 2-3 days even. We have some customers who did their hair transplant on the weekend, and on the Monday they start working back. It shouldn't be a problem. So the healing process is very fast when it comes to FQE Sapphire that we use. But there are other things that you should stay away from. For example, 14 days you cannot have sunlight. You cannot have raining or snowing on the grafts. After that, it's not going to be a problem. For 2 months, we suggest no sunlight, no swimming, and no sauna. If you can, up to 3 months, even better. So these are the things that you have to bear in mind. When it comes to gym, we suggest 14 days of no gym time. After that, you can start slowly.
And I actually heard with the gym, it's not so much the actual pushing, like in regard to, you know, like you're lifting and you're pushing blood to the head. It's more of the bacteria from sweat, right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's why you have to start slowly.
Yeah, so that's also the thing with the sauna, right? That like there's bacterias and that can have effect on the actual on the grafts that are so to say delicate in the beginning phase.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to take care of them. But after 14 days, you can start slowly with cardio, no sweating too much.
Okay, I definitely want to throw into the mix here, because I know you're going to get a little pissed at me now, but I was back in the gym, not full on, after about 10 days. I was like slowly, but that's because it's in my DNA, you know, like I become a different person if I don't use my body, not in a bad way, but it's medicine for me, you know. So, and I think a lot of people out there who are considering it, if you're an athlete or something, like, you guys have to, of course, you know, come with your professional recommendation of what's the right procedure to heal best. But I do think that if you slowly, you know, like just like learning to walk, you know, you take one step, then you take another step. What I'm trying to say is that I think the healing, it's mostly like the first 14 days were like when you're still like, you're still feeling, you know, like the itching, because I remember I had a lot of itching on the back of my head and like a little bit of, it was just, I just wasn't myself, you know, my sleep wasn't as good because of the itching. But after 14 days, like I was cruising back on normal.
That's really good. But we also should know that everyone's result is different.
Yeah.
For example, you say that you hit back to gym right after 10 days.
I'm not going to be specific, but about 10 days, I'd say, yeah.
Let's talk about those who are drinking too much or are excessive smokers, for example. Any surgery has a risk for infection. That is understandable. But there's not a risk for hair transplant. It's for necrosis, where one part of the skin would die due to lack of blood circulation. And this usually happens, not usually actually, very rarely, but happens for those who are excessive smokers. For the last 200 patients, maybe we had 1 case of necrosis. And since we were very close to him, he could come by and we helped with the new blood channel and it went fine. So he was okay after that. There was no problem of the grafts loss. That's also, it's important that you be close to the clinic that you do hair transplant, because for the first 10 days, there are these 2 risks for infection and necrosis that you have to be in touch with them. So most of people, after the hair transplant, we tell them 1 week of no cigarettes. After that, you can slowly start if you want. We suggest to stop it, of course.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity to level up in your life in other areas.
Yes. But they still do that, and they don't get necrosis, they don't get infections. It doesn't mean it's going to be okay for everyone. So that's why if you hit the gym we still suggest the 14 days, a
Yeah.
little bit extra. After that, you can start with cardio. I mean, for the rest of your listeners,
Yeah.
they can hit the gym after 14 days, but it should be slowly.
Yeah,
They
I also
cannot
think
leave
it's
it
great.
left at once.
It also can be like a good, like everyone needs a deload once in a while from training. So, you know, like
True.
if you do it wisely, then you can maybe even plan it so that, you know, you can take full 10 days to give your body some like recovery. I think a lot of people who are training and are high performers in the world of athletics, they need to do like a week. So if you're really smart, you can build your life and around the transplant and take some well-deserved time off. I want to talk to you about finasteride and minoxidil. And the reason I want to talk to you about this is because I've heard so many stories about these two medications post-treatment. One of the things is finasteride having an effect on libido. I know you guys don't prescribe for finasteride because I asked you if you could prescribe me finasteride,
Yes.
but what is your thoughts on finasteride and minoxidil?
When it comes to us, we try to give you a permanent solution. Minoxidil and finasteride, the problem with them is, for example, for minoxidil, it's good if you want to motivate the grafts for a week or 10 days so they can become stronger. But then if you are using it in long term, that will kill the grafts. You should know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's something that they don't tell you usually. We have many patients, they started with minoxidil before they come to us, of course. First, their hair was amazing.
Yeah, they tried all the different until the worst case scenario.
Yes,
so to
then
say.
we come for hair transplant. And based on their experience, when they used it for the first 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, it was amazing. And then slowly they started losing hair. And then they did whatever they could. They could not stop the hair loss. So that's why it's bad. And when it comes to finasteride, you cannot say I want to be beautiful without a libido. So that's why we do not suggest it at all.
Yeah.
Only in cases that we know there are hormonal changes on the body of some patients, we might prescribe them, and we still ask them to check for any kind of side effects.
Yeah.
They have to let us know in advance, and if there was any issues for the first 1 week of trial, we will tell them to stop.
Yeah,
and that's important.
Because from what I hear from people, I know a lot of guys who have been using finasteride, and a lot of them have had no side effects. And I know that like it's basically like either you will feel the side effect like quite like quickly that it's having an effect on you, or you won't feel it at all. Is what I kind of hear out and about. But is finasteride something that you could use before having a hair transplant? Would that have, because it is a DHT blocker.
Yes.
So basically, it blocks the hormone to control the hair loss, something along the lines of that.
Yes.
Because I think it's also quite expensive. It's not like the cheapest thing to use finasteride. It's like it's maybe like 50 to 100 euros a month if you're getting good quality, which is quite a lot, you know.
Yes.
But do you experience a lot of guys who have used finasteride before they come to the clinic, or is it something you typically use after the hair transplant?
Actually, we do not recommend after hair transplant at all.
Yeah.
And for those who have been using or in the process of using finasteride or minoxidil or Expedia, which is another DHT blocker, we suggest for them to stop 3 months before hair transplant, because we don't want that to affect anything on the grafts when we want to do the implantation. There are cases that we want people to use a DHT blocker. A mild one like Expedia is much better than finasteride, which is very strong, or minoxidil. If we see that donor area is weak, we will tell them that you can use for 1 month. After that, you have to stop. And then you can send us new pictures. You can come by so we can check how it looks. And then we go from there. But we don't suggest it at all. We have to check if the guy really needs it or not. For example, many people think that, okay, if I lost my hairline, I can use these and they will come back. But it's not the case. If you have a strong hair type, it means you can do a hair transplant. You don't need to do these kind of treatments, and they will not help at all. It's not going to bring back the dead grafts. That's something people should know.
Okay, so if you don't have strong hair, and you're using these medicines, they won't have any effect, right? Is that correct then?
We will try to make them stronger with those. Even
Yeah.
we have customers who came by. We checked the donor area; it was very weak. We suggested for them to do some PRP treatments or mesotherapy sessions to make the donor area stronger. So then we can do a hair transplant and then implant them on the scalp. So we will have to check on how it is. It depends from person to person. We cannot generalize for everyone that you should go and try these, because I told you they can have bad effects, especially finasteride. You cannot destroy your sexual life.
I think is, look,
hair.
I know that this is a big topic for a lot of guys out there, and that's also why I want to ask you this next question. But what role do steroids and use of testosterone play in regard to loss of hair?
Actually, it affects your dihydrotestosterone. If you're using, for example, many people, they ask us about creatine. If you read about it, it has no direct effect on the hair itself. But the problem is that it raises your dihydrotestosterone, and then you will have hair loss. So it's just hormonal. That's why we do not suggest for people to use. Also, after hair transplant, up to 1 year, we don't suggest using them.
Any form of supplementation for the gym?
Oh no, you can take vitamins, you can take protein, no problem. But when it comes to creatine, you have to be careful. And hormonal injections is not quite prescribed by the clinic.
Yeah, because I know that on the note of libido, on libido, is that because testosterone actually raises your libido, you know, of course. So I know that a lot of guys, they use testosterone and then they get a hair transplant and then they can use finasteride because they're not afraid of the side effect of the libido because the testosterone is enhancing the libido. But do you have any clients who come to you like and are using testosterone, and what would be your requirements, so to say, to make a hair transplant for anyone out there who is using testosterone? Because I mean, the reason why I'm asking is also because testosterone is becoming more and more common now in usage for men, especially when they're getting older. In the States, it's very normal when you go to the doctor, if you're having low energy or low libido, they will straight away ask about your testosterone levels. So is this something that you guys are aware of right now in the industry?
Yes, but for example, it depends on which kind of testosterone you're using. When it comes to us, we have to check any kind of medication, actually. Everything should be written before your surgery, that we have to check with the surgeons if they are going to have any impact on the surgery itself or on the medication that we're going to prescribe for you or give you. So it's important. It's very individual thing to use testosterone or not. And which kind of testosterone, as I told you, is also depends. For example, someone hits the gym, he wants to use it, and he's using something that is not going to affect his hair. For example, it's not a dihydrotestosterone.
Okay.
Improvement pill. So it means it's not going to be a problem for us. He's not going to lose his hair. But for those who are using finasteride, which is a DHT blocker, and at the same time they're using another testosterone pill to help their libido, that's quite a thing. We suggest for them to stop.
Yeah. Yes. So ultimately, if someone comes in and they are using PEDs, performance enhancing drugs for the gym, and they want to get a hair transplant, then you recommend them to stop immediately.
Yes, we have to see which one is it. It's important which type of medication they use at all, or supplements.
Yeah, and I know that you guys are also working with other cosmetic surgeries, but do you see a lot of your clients coming in and having one thing done and then they come back and want more?
Oh yes.
Can you explain what your thinking is for the reasoning behind this?
The reason for that is, as I told you, many people accept their reality as they are. If they became bald, they accept it because they think they cannot change it. Once they do a hair transplant, in most of our customers, once they do it and they see a huge change, they will be motivated. They want more and more. It goes for women also. If you see some
Yeah.
even go extreme
Yeah.
when it comes to cosmetics. But for men, we do not suggest extreme at all. We have many people, they get motivated, they become happy after their hair transplant. They say, okay, I want to remove the lines on the forehead. We say, yes, do that. You'll become even younger. That's good. We suggest for them. But if they say we want to do something that is it's going to look quite unnatural drastically, then we say no.
Yeah, of course you don't want that label walking around with your name on it.
True.
I understand that. But
Yeah.
if I may ask you, how do you see this whole like boom in comparison in regard to like the young generation on social media now, and they're seeing all these, women who are staying beautiful, and like they're getting younger and younger, especially with women, like nowadays with just like fillers, like there's literally, I mean, like just 5 years ago, it was not common, I feel like, for women to have fillers in their lips. And now it's almost uncommon that you don't have like either Botox or a filler at the age of like 24, 25. Like, where do you see this going for the industry? Do you think that it's getting out of hand?
I think we are going to make the situation out of hand. In most of the clinics, they do not look at the guy and tell him honestly what he needs or what she needs.
Mm-hmm. They're just trying to make a buck.
Yes, they're just trying to make a buck, as you said. But when it comes to us, we try to be as much reasonable as possible. For example, we have most of customers who want to do cool peeling, that they remove one layer of the skin and then a new layer of the skin will come out, much brighter and clear. But when they come in and they say, why can't I do now when it's hot? We tell them no, because you have to stay away from it, from sunshine for 2 or 3 months. So we suggest for them to come at winter, and they get confused. They say, we go other clinics, they accept us right away. Why can't you do that? So there are clinics, of course, they don't tell you that it's bad. But when it comes to us, we think going extreme is not good. Anything unnatural is not beauty. That is important for people to know.
I see. So in regard to also with the hair transplant, like, do you have any kind of like after a year, do you take the patients back in to check the results, or is it like you get your procedure done and then after the PRP treatments, which are a part of the treatments where you're enhancing the blood flow up there, essentially, as far as I understand, then basically the clients are good to go, right? After that.
Oh yeah, client is good to go, but then we also have another suggestion. Since we know after 6 months he is going to look awesome, we tell them, if you let us, or if you want us to share your pictures, before and after pictures, we can suggest them for one mesotherapy session, complimentary also.
What's the mesotherapy again?
That's the XL hair treatment injectable. It's also like PRP, but not from your own blood. It's a special type of multivitamin that we inject on the scalp.
Okay.
Yep.
And is there actually an option? Because I can imagine in Hollywood, like there's some people who just want to be knocked out and get the operation done. Is that a thing that you get, like where you're fully, how do you say,
knocked down?
Yeah, knocked out, like because
full anesthesia.
Yeah,
no.
That's not something that's not common.
Of course, it's very risky.
It's
Why
risky,
would
because I know with tattoos they started doing it. When people are getting like full backs on tattoos, they'll literally just, you'll get knocked out, like you'll have oxygen, and then 10 guys are just doing your back, because basically like they don't want to feel the pain, they don't want to be awake.
Now, when it comes to aesthetic, especially for surgeries like hair transplant, there shouldn't be any risk for death or coma. Why would we send someone into a how do we say
Coma.
into a artificial coma exactly, just to do a hair transplant while it's not going to be painful? You have the experience yourself. The first 5 minutes, the needles you will feel a little bit, of course. It's like you go somewhere and they check your blood test. But then after that, it's going to be very normal. You can listen to music, you can watch videos while they do your hair transplant. So there is no need for that at all. Though we have some customers who has dyslexia, they're scared of needles, they're scared of blood. We try to help them by covering their eyes sometimes. We tell them to listen to music, don't think about it. And they don't feel after that first 5 minutes. So there is no need to totally knock down someone.
No.
Just for hair transplant, yes.
So where do you see the industry going now, like in the next, let's just say 5 years, like maybe 5-10 years? Is that, where do you see it going? Do you think it's going to keep on growing and becoming even more popular? Would you recommend someone to get into the business?
Oh yes, I think it's going to be much more popular because people now notice the changes. Like, you're very happy with your results. There are many people and they have friends, families who did hair transplant, and when they look at their results, their confidence back, how happy they are with their new look. Some people, it has quite a change that they look 20 years younger, 30 years younger than the age that they have. So it is going in the right direction. The only issue is where you go with and which kind of technology they use for you. That's something important enough to people to search for the right one.
And do you think it's going to be able to change the price point as well? Do you think it's going to get cheaper to do the hair, or is it going to or do you think we've reached like a point where it can't be done any more efficiently in regard to the price and the quality?
We hope it can be cheaper. For example, when it comes to us, we try to be as much competitive with Turkey prices as possible, because the idea to make the clinic was to try to have a solution for people here rather than going to Turkey and take a risk of either getting results or not. So that's why we have much more competitive prices than other clinics. When it comes to the pricing, also it depends on which kind of treatment they use. For example, if you're using an FUT in Iran, it's going to cost them maybe around maximum €1,000. So that is not a problem. It's a very cheap one. But then you will not get good results and you will have permanent scarring on your donor area. When it comes to us, we try to take lesser profit from every customer, and instead we are based on reference. It means that we have a lot of customers to come in. Yeah.
That's also like the feel I get from you guys. But is that actually a season that's more busy for you in regard to hair transplants? Would it then be traditionally around, towards the end of summer and then through the winter into the start of spring? That's typically, is that the more busy season for you?
Actually, based on my experience with us, it's the same, but with other clinics, it's a bit different. It depends from which type of people we are talking about who they're doing their transplant. Most people, they think about their semester time to do the hair transplant, and that's why they plan it in summer. But some people we have that they want to go, for example, they're coming from a very sunny place. They think of doing it in winter time because they have to stay away from sunlight for 2-3 months, as I told you. Yes. So it depends from which kind of audience we have. When it comes to us, we have times available always. We do 2 to 3 surgeries every day, not 10 like Turkey, of course, because we look more on the quality of the job than quantity. When it comes to pricing, we try to be as much reasonable as possible. The other problem with other clinics actually in Scandinavia is that they are not trying to be more available for everyone. They try to make much more profit from one person rather than taking lesser profit from more people. So they don't have our approach. That's why their prices are much more than us.
Yeah, I think that's quite interesting also that you have this kind of association with Turkey being the cheaper option, and then you have options in Europe, like in, you know, like all the big cities, you know, London, Berlin, Copenhagen. You have all the options, but they're just like insanely different price points. We're talking like in Copenhagen, I know you can get a hair transplant for about 50,000-60,000 kroners. And then you can, you know, go and visit you guys and get it for maybe half that price and get an amazing result, you know. But it's basically, I think a lot of it is that getting a hair transplant was once something for like the rich and famous, you know. It wasn't something for the common people.
Yes.
And the thing is, when I did my hair transplant with you guys, and I put that out on my social media, and like I started doing Instagram stories with it, I had so many just like normal guys writing me, just like fucking carpenters and teachers and whatever, you know, just like, where'd you get it done? Like, how was it? And just like they were so interested, and you could hear this hunger for getting the hair transplant, you know. And they were like, I've been considering Turkey. I couldn't even keep up with like answering, because I just wanted to write like, just go to Regeline, like just go and get it done, like for at that price point. But do you think that kind of those days are over for the hair transplant industry, that it was once this high end thing? Do you
Yes.
Yeah. So are you afraid that like there's going to be a lot of I know you're never afraid when you do so good job as you guys do, and you shouldn't, but do you think that there's going to be a lot popping up now in Scandinavia, like a lot of options? I mean, there must be, right?
Actually, we would really like to be more competitive with other clinics, but the problem is we don't have too much of clinics in Scandinavia who are with reasonable prices. As I told you, the problem is that they are based on one or two customers every week, and so they try to get like 50 or 60,000 Danish kroner from one person, while we know that it's too much and not everyone can afford it. We are mostly based on referrals, as you said. So we're not going to be scared if there is other competition. We would actually like if it's cheaper options for people.
Yeah, and I guess also, you know, a lot of these options that then end up doing bad jobs, it goes back with being good for you guys, because, you know, having a standout catalog of customers who are just getting amazing results. I mean, that's the key, right? Because one bad hair transplant and one bad review on like Trustpilot or something, I don't know what that can really be huge damage.
True. Actually, we would like to be customer based always. We have some customers who did hair transplant. They're not happy. We try to help them, of course. We have customers who said, we are not that rich. We will go to Turkey. We told them that, okay, try to find a good place. But if you had any issues or questions, you can always come back to us. We have customers who did hair transplant in other clinics, and now they are receiving their PRP treatments with us.
Mm-hmm.
It means that we are not scared of helping everybody. We would like to help everyone, actually. Sometimes it's just sad that you know that somebody lost this chance. That's the only thing that affects our minds, actually.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that it was this situation with that. You know, you only have one real shot at getting your hair fixed once, basically, and you know, if you fuck it up, then that's it. And like, I really resonate with you guys coming from that, because you know, you mentioned before that you guys are also in the service of giving people confidence and giving people a new identity and like a new shot at youth, you know, a new shot at life, man. I mean, it is ultimately, because like when you get this kind of procedure done, it can just suddenly open up to a string of development in your personal life, you know, whether that be finding the dream girlfriend or getting the confidence to go for that raise in your job or whatever it is, you know. But I really admire that you guys are trying to actually like make people aware that they can go somewhere, get it done cheaper, but they're jeopardizing
Yes, and
their quality of life forever.
it's not like everybody is not going to have a second chance. No. Uh, it depends from which clinic you're going, which kind of technology they use for the hair implantation. The problem is that we will see how we can help. Sometimes people did once or twice hair transplant before. When they come back, we can do implantation on a very small part of their head, so it can make a good change, of course. But we would love to do it ourselves, so he could have much better results than just making a little change after 2-3 times of doing that. So it is not based on one chance itself. It depends from which clinic you did that before. So this thing was for people who already done once. They're not happy. I understand them. We will most probably be able to help them if the donor area is not too much damaged. So it is not end of the world for everyone. As you know.
Yeah, I also think like it's quite interesting that a lot of people, in regard to this procedure, they kind of have this tendency to like try everything else and waste a shitload of money on like, you know, using finasteride or trying all sorts of whatever scam products online. And they just wait, kick the can down the road, spend a lot of money, and then they end up doing the hair transplant anyway, where they could have just reached out, like got it done, and they could have saved all the money and all the energy on trying different options. Like, and I just feel like that's kind of information that isn't really out there, you know, because like you're getting you know, like spammed with all this, like use this for your hair, use this for your hair, like this machine is gonna help your hair grow. It's like, come on, man, like you should just go get it done and, you know, reap the benefits. Wouldn't you advise the same to like guys out there who are thinking about it and like going for all these tries and not getting success?
Of course they're not going to get success because it's just for marketing, and most of these products has either minoxidil in them. They say, oh, it's all natural, it's all good, but we are sure they have chemicals in them. And in most cases they lose hair much more than they gain. So that's why it's absolutely not a good idea to go for anything you find on the internet. And regarding the other question, we have, for example, we had actually a very good friend of mine who came and did hair transplant with us. And then his friend scolded him and he said, okay, I went to Turkey and I paid 1,700 euro only for my procedure. And when after a few months, they sit and they calculated. The one who did with us found out that he did not pay 1 krona or even extra for all of the treatments, medication, PRPs, everything was included in one package. And the other friend of him who went to Turkey, he paid twice as him for PRPs, for the medication, and the results are uncomparable. Like you see two friends with totally two different type of hairline. One looks natural, beautiful, nobody would know that he did anything. And the other one looks from far away that he implanted hair and there is too much distance in between. We took them both, of course. We took his friend in for helping, not with another hair transplant. He have to wait a little longer, but with medication and PRP. And the funny thing is that he calculated and he actually spent much more than his friend.
Yeah,
because I told you, many have this idea that okay, we go to Turkey, we do hair transplant, we come back home, and then we are good. But it's not like that. Many people will pay for their tickets. That's an extra. When they come in, they have to do PRP treatments. They have to pay too much expensive. We have clinics in Denmark who do for 16,000 Danish kroner 6 sessions of PRP.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yes, and when they spend that on the money they spend on Turkey, then they will think, okay. Then they will find out that they actually spend much more than doing it with us.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. It's definitely also for me to like talk about this now. Like I'm just so fucking happy I did it, honestly. Like I can't underline like how much joy and new life it's brought into my life, and I just think that there's so many guys on the fence out there who want to get it done and they don't have that push that it requires to set themselves up to get it done, you know. So I think it's been super, super interesting to talk to you about it, and also to sit here with my surgeon and also my friend and brother. I think that's kind of cool, you know, and I also think that that's the way to do like these kind of procedures, you know, like build relationships, get to know the people behind, you know, feel comfortable, feel like you're actually sitting down and talking to a friend or someone who actually is interested in it, you know, and like, just like, you know, you go to someone for a piece of advice, like I'm happy to pay for someone's advice, like literally if it's someone who I look up to, you know. And I think like ultimately that's one of the main factors, you know, and I think that's great what you guys are doing over there. You guys are helping people to get new life through these hair transplants. I don't think that there's anything else I really have to ask about. I think we covered some good ground.
Yes, I think we did.
Yeah, and I think to like all the guys out there, especially here in Denmark and in Scandinavia and just in general, like do the research, like figure out, you know, who's using the newest and modern treatment, as we talked about, the
FUE and Sapphire.
The FUE and Sapphire, like make sure that that's like the
standard one.
That's the standard one. Don't go to Turkey unless like you know the surgeon, and
yes, it's very important.
And you've got some referrals from someone who's been there, and it's not one of these farms. But then also, you know, as we talked about, I think it's really important to also underline the fact that you want to be close to your home. Like you don't want to be in a foreign country.
It is important. For example, if there is risk for infection, for example, for 1 week, even up to 10 days after hair transplant, you cannot suddenly take a new ticket and go back to Turkey just for a checkup for the infection, and so they can treat it. But if you're close to home, you can treat it very easily.
Yeah, and that's also just a comfortable scenario to be in.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, it was nice talking to you again.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. And I'm really, really thankful to have met you guys. It's going to be definitely a year that I won't forget, you know, because being in Thailand and then taking the leap of faith and going for it and sitting here now, not even a year after, we're in August now.
Yep.
And the results are insane. I cannot underline how happy I am with this. But yeah, it's definitely been the year of change with aesthetics for me. Also, it gave me motivation, you know, to really like hone in with my training. So it also just led to a lot of other great things happening in my life. Maybe just starting this podcast was a part of it too, you know. So, but yeah, it was amazing to have you on the show. As a final question, I'd like to ask you, because this show is called No Can't Do.
Okay.
I would like to ask you, was there any point in your life where you were told you can't and you proved otherwise?
Okay, that's quite a question, actually.
And it's a good one to drop without you having any preparation.
No, that's a good one. But as I know myself, because that's a personal question for me, actually.
Absolutely.
Yes. There has been many times. I am from Afghanistan, Joachim. In my lifetime, I have faced a lot of tremendous, huge challenges. And whenever I was trying to see if other people have different mindset on me, they would think that, okay, no, we think that's impossible. And actually, we made it possible. So I think no. I didn't stick to an issue that I think I cannot solve.
Yeah, so I that's a show that's another show for itself. Yeah. But it's definitely been really, really cool to have you on. I appreciate you a lot. I appreciate the work you guys do a lot. If anyone wants to get information about hair transplant and the surgery, where should they go to get a hold of you guys?
Well, you can write our phone number on your description of the video. We can also give you a link for those who are being referred by you. We can give them a discount also.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I hope that we can together, you know, build some new information and motivation for people out there to get what I got. And yeah, all the best for you guys. I look forward to following your work in the future.
Thank you so much, TJ Kent.
Thank you, Achmed.